there's nothing sinful you can do during foreplay with your partner.
Yeah.
But agree, it should be with mutual consent. If you enjoy this, am I also enjoying it? And one person told me, try everything once and twice if you like it. So if you don't like it,
Yeah, just leave it.
I tried it last time and I really do not.
Hi guys, welcome to Shine with Njoki Kamanja Kezi. Thank you so much for all of you who give us feedback of the topics we speak about. So today we are starting on a high note. A high note, by a high note I mean we are going to be talking about sex toys, oral sex, anal sex, Masochism, because some of you have said I'm your prisoner, imprison me. So let's welcome our Counsellor Trizah Mashara. Trizah, salimia watu.
Sasa tasema ni good morning ama ni good evening
From wherever you are.
From wherever you are.
Yeah, diaspora.
And at whatever time you're watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when I see Masochism, I see people who have said I'm your prisoner, imprison me. Wamefungwa mikono. Others are taking belt and beating each other. I don't understand now what is that. So, my first question would be, we are told to wait before marriage.
Yeah.
Where do we learn about it now?
About what?
About sex.
Okay, culturally, in the olden days, every culture had its own way of preparing people for the act of intimacy. And contrary to what religion has taught us, and I don't think it's right teachings on religion, sex education used to be carried out, even in different cultures of the world, in different ways. We had the Jews who used to have their own ways of preparing their people for sexual intimacy in marriage. We have our African cultural background, and if you go into our cultural history, you'll find that we were very rich. Actually, Africans were very rich when it comes to sexual education. We had the Asian community. Every community had its own way of preparing and educating people towards sexual intimacy. So yeah, it was there. But of late, I think something happened in between the time culture and religion are merging. Especially, let's talk about our community in Africa. There was the misconception that came that if you are a religious person, then you should not talk about intimacy. And this brought a rift actually created a very big gap between sexual education in some communities. Because some communities actually continued. People from the coastal area, even those who were Christianized, if there's a word
actually,
like that.
Because my mom is not a Kikuyu, she's a Borana. They are taught like 40 days before your wedding. You are taught everything.
So that kind of education was there. But now there came the misunderstanding, because let's call it a misunderstanding, that when you're a Christian, you should, sex is a taboo subject, you know. So with that, now problems came into, and especially the communities that fully embraced the Christian teachings. But that was not the case. That was not the case, because even in the Bible, there is a place in Titus, I think chapter 2, where Paul was telling Titus, let the older women teach the younger women how to love their husbands. And the kind of love used in the original translation of the Bible was eros. And eros is actually the sexual, romantic kind of loving. So it was taught. Even the Bible talks about sexuality, but these teachings were lost somewhere along the way as people were transitioning now from our African cultural practices and religion, going into our now contemporary or Christian faith.
While when we were growing up, it was always called tabia mbaya. how do we now? I have waited before marriage. Now I enter into marriage and I am supposed to perform acrobatics. And remember, ni tabia mbaya. How do I switch my mind from tabia mbaya, sex is dirty, to sex is a beautiful thing now that I am married? Because you don't just switch mara moja.
And I think that now becomes a failure, and I think that's the root of many problems in Christian marriages. Christian marriages, most problems begin in the bedroom. Yeah, because of what you have talked about. Switching from this is sinful, this is dirty, this is bad manners, and now this is something that I need to enjoy and fulfill and be fulfilled in. So that has posed many problems, and sometimes, let me tell you, it comes to a place where people develop dysfunctions because of these beliefs and these myths that sex is a dirty thing. But switching, it depends on the person. It depends on the person and your exposure and who is around you. Because if you have good friends that you talk about it, hey, when we get married, this is what we do, and there is that excitement that you allow in the topic, then it becomes easier to transition. But if you're the kind of person who keeps to yourself and you have that belief, this is bad manners, you get married and you really struggle. So in some cases it ends up being an issue of therapy. Otherwise it becomes another issue of keeping on calling parents. She's not performing her duties. So those things actually pose a big problem in marriage. That the switching of the mindset.
So you would recommend, if somebody is struggling to switch, you could see a sex therapist.
You could see even a counseling psychologist. Even just a counseling psychologist. Okay, for some of us, we took specialized courses to deal with human sexuality and sex therapy. But even within a degree course of counseling psychology, you also get to learn about sex therapy. A marriage and family therapist will be able to help you. So it is advisable that if wanasema nini ile ya dawa, if symptoms persist,
see the doctor.
See daktari.
Now,
So see a psychologist.
Let's go to the deep. We are supposed to spice up this thing. Yani ufai kuboeka, unakaa hivi umeboeka uko tu kifo cha mende. Unafaa next time up ka game. Si kidogo tuone pornography tusaidie.
Wow. I think I don't know whether we've ever spoken about sexual boundaries. From my training as a therapist, those are some of the things that are recommended. Things we call visual aids. Ati zinakusaidia kuarouse. But from our faith as Christians, pornography, let me say, is a perversion. Because hardly will you find two people who are shooting a video who are man and wife. And sex is a sacred thing. And sacred things, you don't go exposing them on the rooftops. Those things are done in the secret places. They are done in sacred areas, And so when we watch those kind of perversions, because pornography doesn't just come with normal sex, it comes with all sorts of crazy stuff. What we do is we are opening a door of perversion. And unrealistic expectations.
Lakini sasa tutalana aje to styles.
I don't want to go to the place where I've heard a pastor somewhere saying that if you put a man and woman together in the bedroom, they'll know what to do.
They know.
But I believe that you can invest even in reading materials. You can see a sex therapist. Some of the things that are happening right now, and maybe we'll get to talk about it, the bridal showers. Some people can come and openly talk about this and demystify the issue of sex and sexuality. But the most beautiful thing is when two people just purpose to be creative about it. That is the most beautiful thing. When you are open with one another and you decide we are going to discover this thing together. That is the most beautiful thing. But pornography is a boundary that people should not cross.
Na, is it wrong kukuwa na quickie before I go for a church service?
Why not?
Quickie it is.
Why
quickie
not?
It is.
Sex is a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
In some communities, in some religions, it's actually considered an act of worship. Yeah. So
it's worship, praise and worship.
I'm telling you. So unaanzia nyumbani,
mkienda
unaenda kumalizia kanisani.
Kwa hivyo mnasikia kwanza women asubuhi hapo wakwambia unataka kwenda church, unaitangwa kuja kidogo, utaki kukuja kidogo.
Na sijui nani aliambia watu there are even people who believe that you can't have sex on Saturday because you're going to church on Sunday.
Hapana wewe.
Yeah, there are people who have that belief, whether men or women. Sex is defilement. But within the context of a marital institution, sex is a beautiful thing. It is actually an act of worship. And God anacheki tu hapo.
These are my own. Yeah. My own children. They are doing the thing.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing.
Kwa hivyo wala tunakata kakwiki ati ndio twende tukaserve bishop ka lemon water.
Apana. You cannot go serve in the altar there, and your altar you have left wanting.
I know there is a certain reverend, I want to mention. He used to say, some of your husband are watching you and you're like, where is my wife? Jua vile umejinyenyekeza mbele ya mchungaji. Ukimpea lemon water.
Ministry begins at home. Ministry begins at home. So you have to ensure that the priest of that home
has been ministered to the fullest.
Yes.
Let's go now to last week but one, a friend of mine sent me a photo.
Yeah.
This is a photo of a sex toy. Imekwama. Sasa imeletwa service kwa sababu ndio iende service. And I was shocked, like hadi I asked him, sasa hii unatengeneza ukishika wapi? Let's go to sex toys. Some people say instead of me cheating, I can get it. And if maybe my man is not going to the climax the way I want, I could start with the sex toy, then we accelerate with the real person. What do you say about sex toys?
For you to understand something and how it functions, and you have to know the meaning of it and the purpose of it. Sex was meant for, let's say, three things. First, it was meant for procreation. Yeah. Secondly, it was meant for intimacy between two people. And then it was meant to glorify God.
Yeah.
So as you're enjoying it, it is God's gift to a husband and a wife. And that's why it is kept until marriage. Because it is a gift for two people. Not a person and an object. It is an intimacy really means intimacy. So what is this toy saying in you, and what are you seeing in this toy? Yeah, but I want to say this, that the Bible has no clear scripture talking about whether sex toys use or not. There is nothing in the Bible that you'll find. So what I will say, leave it to the judgment of the couple or to the person. But for me, as a person, this is my take concerning this. There can be the use of sex toys in several places, and they have their advantages. Like there are people, and I have had people who have had issues with sexual dysfunctions. You see, you're in a marriage, two of you. So in this marriage, you're supposed to ensure that there is satisfaction, there is pleasure for the other person. And if you're the one who's having a problem, and especially when it's the man who's having a problem, and the wife still has their desires, then they have to look for a creative way of ensuring that the needs of this woman are met. So in some cases, couples have settled for the toys as a way of ensuring that there is no infidelity and there is sexual satisfaction in the relationship. So you can find that it acts as an advantage during that time when there is a dysfunction. It can act as a way of helping the other partner, when one of the partners is unable to function. But now it also has its disadvantages. Because the act of using a sex toy equates to, especially when somebody is using the sex toy on their own, it is equal to masturbation. And there are people who have no issues with that. There are people who will be left feeling dirty and feeling guilty about it. So if it doesn't work, if you feel it is not right, if you feel it is, just don't do it. The other thing is that it kind of disconnects sexuality from intimacy, in that it replaces, it personates sexuality. So it tells you can use an object to satisfy yourself, and you don't need a man for this. So, and I saw a certain girl being interviewed on one of the YouTube channels, and she was saying for her, she doesn't need a man. She's satisfied. She has her toys, which now you see it diverts from the purpose and meaning of sex. So it has that disadvantage. It also now can develop a hunger for satisfying yourself even when your spouse is not there.
True.
Leading to masturbation, which now is an unnatural act, which now goes towards the sinful act. So I think we need to realize that sex toys, I can't say the yes or the no, because you hear it also has a way of maintaining a marriage where it could be broken because one person is not functioning. But in a functioning marriage, I think the most beautiful thing, as I said, is two people just getting engaged in this thing, enjoying one another's bodies, and that pleases God because that was his idea, and it is a very good idea.
Now there is machismo. Hiyo jina ina nini mingi. Where people tie each other, umefungwa jela pale kwa kitanda. They are even beating each other with belts. What about that?
Wow.
Because they say, I enjoy painful sex.
That comes from, if we were to go the psychological way, if somebody is enjoying pain where they should be enjoying pleasure, it is an indication that that person has a psychological problem. It's an indication of a psychological issue. And there are also people who enjoy tormenting others so that they can be able to get. And I've seen ladies actually who even
hapa
hata ana skuma the husband, anamskuma, yani pushing you emotionally until she's beaten up. And then now when she's totally beaten up, amepigwa black and blue, that's when she's turned on. It is an indication of a psychological problem. And some of these things we say they happen during developmental stages. When somebody is growing up, there are things they lacked, or there were things that they experienced which now makes them derive pleasure from hurting other people or from receiving pain, which is now actually something that somebody, if you're that kind of person, you need to get help about.
Let's talk about oral sex and anal sex, because if I remember, there's a time we were in one of your classes, and you were telling us about boundaries when having sex. If somebody is asking for anal sex, then that's a no.
That's a no. Anal sex is against the will of God. It is an unnatural act, and it has its own medical issues. I'm not a doctor. Ask Daktari that if you can dare.
Ask. I'll gather my courage.
But it has issues that come with it. And because it is an unnatural act, in most cases, women who have been pushed into doing these things sometimes also kind of begin to lose their self-esteem. Apart from the physical or biological effects of it, it also works to drain you emotionally, and that's why you find that there are women who have been so misused in a relationship, but they are unable to live even when they are under abuse because they lose their self-worth. Anashindwa sasa mimi mwenye nimetumiwa hivi na hivi na hivi, who will even accept a person who is like me? So it is a no-go zone. Just say no. There are things that we call negotiables in a relationship, and there are things you stand and say, this one, we are not even talking about it. I will not do this. I have had ladies in some of my classes, but also who see me after the class, and they tell me, I have been able, my husband has made me do this several times. And people are created with their own level of twisted. And men naturally will even, they are born adventurous. These guys, and I hope the ones who will listen to us and understand we are coming from a good place. We love them a lot. But men are adventurous by nature. The fact that they've had it's being done, they will want to try. Sasa hata kuna saa utasikia anajaribu kusukuma kwa jirani, just stand up and say no, that is not the place. Just go a little bit higher. You'll find where you're going. So you'll find where you're going. Because they are adventurous by nature. So it's you, the woman, who stands up and says no. People can manipulate. One lady told me that my husband tells me it's because I'm mushamba, because this girl is born up country and this guy is a town guy, but they are believers. And the guy says, hey, everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. And I told this girl, I've been married. Now this will be my 30th year in marriage. I've not had that kind of sex once. I've not had it once. I've been born and brought up in Nairobi. So hii ushamba unaambiwa, mwambie wewe unataka tu kukaa mshamba, if that is what.
It that way.
And it should not be forced on you. It's something you have a right to say no. You have a right to draw boundaries and stand with those boundaries and say, when it comes to this, I told you no. This I will not.
Let's talk about oral sex. Kuna watu wanasema ananikuza mara sijui yani. You know. What do we say about that?
Oral sex and oral stimulation are two different things. During foreplay, there is nothing sinful that you can do with your partner. But it has to be in agreement. Don't let anyone push you into something that will leave you feeling, if it doesn't feel comfortable, say no. But let me say this also. Like I said, there's nothing sinful you can do during foreplay with your partner. But agree. It should be with mutual consent. If you enjoy this, am I also enjoying it? And one person told me, try everything once and twice if you like it. So if you don't like it,
just leave it.
I tried it last time and I really do not like this. But oral sex now, the difference, maybe when we are in class, we are able to demonstrate these things. Foreplay is oral stimulation that I can kiss and lick and whatever, I don't want to go into so many details, but I can play with your body, whatever part of your body, either with my fingers, with my tongue, with my lips, whichever way, for the purpose of playing, because foreplay is just that, it is playing. And if we are both okay with it, it is okay. But now there is a way that somebody can use their organ, make you use your mouth to fully satisfy them, that is oral sex. It is dirty, it is ugly, and though there are people who might enjoy it, I don't believe that is the way we should get sexual satisfaction.
Yeah. Okay. So as we conclude, when people hear about sex, sometimes they don't understand how to communicate. How do you communicate now about those boundaries?
Like I said, when we were talking about boundaries, there are things that you can discuss for those who are not already in a marriage during courtship. You know, that courtship should not just be about talking about rurashio. You should even discuss
kunanyeshanga seasons
and just generally going into people can communicate their preferences, and if we find that, hey, me those things, even if we get married, me that I will not do, then find out, is this guy comfortable with the fact that I will not be able to do that for him? And if it is not, that is a very key part of a marriage, then you can call off the courtship. Some of the boundaries are communicated as you advance into the marriage. Maybe you go wedding night, everything is clean, but during the honeymoon you realize this person is a bit queer, they are a bit freaky in the bedroom. Then that time, no, I'm not comfortable with this. No, I don't think I want to be doing this. And what you say you are not comfortable with, let it stand. That this thing, I don't feel comfortable doing it. So boundaries are drawn as there are some that you completely stand with, and then there are some that you draw as you advance and as you continue. Because people have very weird ideas of how you spice up a relationship. Well, people even within the faith are switching spouses.
Threesomes.
People are having things they are calling group sex groups. So those are things that you if somebody introduces, you tell them, no, that I will not do.
There's
and
one
as I
they
said,
call polyandry. You introduce our wife or our husband,
and all those things are against the will of God. As I said, sex is a gift of God to two people who love one another. So anything that you feel goes outside your faith, goes out of your liking, your preference, makes you uncomfortable, you have a right to stand up for yourself and say, no, I will not do this. And let no one threaten you. Because one again lady told me, my husband said, if I don't do it with him, he'll look for someone else to do it with.
Open the door, go. Full stop.
This is my stand.
And
if then you choose to do that, then you could also be putting this relationship at risk.
Thank you so much. We have learned something. One thing that I want to insist for us born again women, quickie it is. So this is Shine with Njoki Kamanja Kethi. You're the light and you can shine.
Shine with Njoki Kamanja Kethi.